In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Brothers and sisters, in today's epistle reading, we encounter a topic that in our time is especially difficult to discuss, that of stewardship. If we look to 1 Corinthians 9, it seems that the Apostle Paul was accused of being a charlatan of sorts, using religion and piety as a get-rich-quick scheme. So he asks his hypothetical accuser, how is it possible that only he and Barnabas have no right to eat or drink, have no right to provide for a family, but are instead compelled to have secular employment, even after the Church of Corinth had been built and founded and made stable? After all, who is it that works without enjoying the fruits of his labor? Indeed, Paul and Barnabas are not even claiming the right to the full fruit of their labor, but that the gratitude of the Corinthians for spiritual things should be sufficient to at least receive material things, such that they are able to devote themselves to the spread of the gospel. As he has for much of this first letter to the church in Corinth, St. Paul corrects his children as a father must, with love and with care, yet without neglecting the truth. But correct them he must, lest the short-sightedness of this community inevitably end the community. St. Paul is teaching the Corinthians about stewardship, about their care for the material needs of their church community, being as we also are entrusted by God with a church community. This is something that we likewise must take note of. In the Old Testament, we hear of three financial obligations on the people of God. The first was a tithe, that is 10% of income, which was for the upkeep of the temple in Jerusalem. The second is for charitable works, and the third was essentially for provisioning oneself to be able to attend great feast days in Jerusalem. It's roughly equivalent to what we today would consider annual leave, except that you set it aside yourself. We were not given these commands in the Old Testament without reason. We were given these commands because they are beneficial for us. It's tempting to pass over a topic like this and just to not address it. Any discussion of the topic in our society, in our culture today, leads one to think of megachurches and prosperity gospel and the next private jet for the lead pastor. This is, as you can see plainly, not what we are discussing today. As you can see plainly, this would be an overreaction to neglect such a vital topic because others have misused it. Such fear of the topic deprives us of the benefits of stewardship, where, as the people of God, we are able to offer to God, giving a sacrifice to the Most High, declaring the priority of Christ within our life, and showing our responsibility for our parish as the temple of God. So then, what must we do? We must look to be stewards of our parish. A parish that has the dream of welcoming our whole city to the Orthodox faith, doing so on a budget that is smaller than most households. We should commit ourselves, therefore, to be stewards of this parish, to be stewards of the work of this parish. And I know that the question of how much will inevitably arise. While we recognize that the 10% in the Old Testament is the first fruits of our earnings, and that the amount in the New Testament shown in Acts was not 10%, was not less than that, but was actually 100%, which they were able to do with communal living. We recognize these things while knowing that such numbers probably wouldn't work for us today. The principle, however, is that our stewardship should be based on proportional giving. So let us look to what it is that we currently donate as a percentage of our household income, at least to what it is that we receive, even if we disregard what is automatically taxed. So let us look to this percentage and first commit to giving this much. And then we can develop, then we can build. Perhaps we'll find ourselves on 1% or 5% or 0.5%, whatever it is. We acknowledge where we are, and now we have a goal. And we can build up over time, percent and percent, to that 10% mark. How this is done can vary widely based on the person. Some find it easier to place bills in the collection plate each week, while others find it easier to set up a regular transfer into a parish bank account with details you can find on our schedule or on our website. But this commitment is beneficial to ourselves, as well as being beneficial to the people of God around us. As St. Paul concludes in today's reading, the focus is always on the gospel, enduring all things so that nothing gets in the way of the gospel of Christ. And we should make sure that what we do and that what we don't do also doesn't hinder the gospel. In our parish, as you've no doubt heard, we have two purposes. We make disciples of Christ by bringing the gospel to our city and by bringing parishioners to heaven. Today, let us help to make this happen. Let us make this commitment. Let us set aside the material for use of the immortal. By this, let us show that we put God as the first place in our life, second to nothing. Not only by prioritizing our attendance, as we've done today, but also by giving of our resources, so that we together glorify God and bring the gospel to where we are. Amen.